Play the lineup. My guest tonight is Thurman Thomas. He's here for the Bills in Toronto. They'll be here next week. You can watch the game Thursday evening, December the 3rd on Rogers Sportsnet. If you want tickets, you can go to www.billsintoronto.com. It would be a big mistake of me not to mention the years you spent making me an embarrassed high schooler. Every day, I was telling the story, every day on the Friday before the Super Bowl, I'd come in, brag, say, this is the time the Bills are going to do it, man. This is it. This is going to be the day. And then on every Monday, I would practically hazed by everybody in school. But
I think we used to say the same thing.
Yeah.
This is it, guys. This is it. This is the one we're going to do.
Take me back to those days. They were great, weren't they? They had to be
great.
good. Yeah.
They were great. You know what? We always talk about, we wish we could have won one. But you know what? There's been so many. I mean, you talk about all four major sports: football, baseball, basketball, hockey. How many great players have never been to a Stanley Cup,
Sure.
NBA Finals,
Super Bowl, World Series.
There's been a ton of them. I mean, Ted Williams never went to the World Series.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time. And, you know, there's been a lot of great players that have gotten to that point and never won one. You know, I talk to Charles Barkley all the time.
Yeah.
And he's one of the greatest that got to the finals but never won one. And, like, guy that I talk to at least 2 or 3 times a year. I talk to Barry Sanders
Yep.
a couple of times a year. Probably, to me, the greatest running back to ever play the
He
game.
just hung it up.
And he just hung it up, but one time in the playoffs in 10 years that he played. And you're talking about one of the greatest players ever. So, I mean, we enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had a conversation with some coaches earlier. You know, when you walked into our hotel room after the game, you thought we won.
Yeah. You couldn't tell the difference.
You couldn't tell the difference. You know, I mean, it was exciting. It was an exciting time for Bills fans. It was an exciting time for the players, the organization, Mr. Wilson, family, friends. We didn't win one, but like I always said, boy, we had a hell of a time trying.
This was on the NFL Network the other day, and I've got to ask you about it because I've watched the replay. And I always watch the replay thinking to myself, it's going to change. The Music City Miracle isn't going to happen. Frank White, I saw you sitting on the bench because you had an injury in that game.
Yeah.
And you're probably sitting there just like everybody else thinking, Wycheck's not going to make that lateral question mark.
Right.
And they're not going to win this back. We've got this game. We're going to go back to the playoffs. We're going to go back. Well, we're going to go from the playoffs, the wild card, into the Super Bowl. It's going to happen.
Right.
It never changes, man.
And you know what? And the thing that I always, you know, and I like talking about this game because, you know, a lot of people always say, wow, if we would have started Doug Flutie, we would have won the game. We had the game won.
Yeah. Doesn't matter who was quarterback.
It don't matter who was quarterback. We had the game won. I mean, it was there. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
And plus, the referee went over and looked at the play. There was no way he was going to change that.
Not in that crowd. Not in that crowd.
In that crowd, people would have came out of the stands to get that referee. So, I mean, it was great. You know, I think over the years that we played there, it's been some ups and there's been some downs. But
yeah.
I definitely take a lot more of the ups than downs.
Well, it's good stuff, and we appreciate you doing the work that you're doing to bring the Bills into Toronto next week, December 3rd. You can watch the game on Rogers Sportsnet or go to www.billsintoronto.com. Thurman, it's been a pleasure, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about your biggest pet peeve when you go out to the mall this Christmas. And no, it's not the points cards. It's something different. That's next as the Ryan Dole Show continues.